Hello, everybody. Welcome to Political Football. My name is Dave. I'm here with Scott. We're going to do another draft this week. We're going to be drafting here in the Pug on Underdog Fantasy. But first off, Scott, how you doing today?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Just producing the show as we go here. Got a little bit of a late start as I was trying to get everything connected. Has anything happened in the NFL over the last couple of weeks that we absolutely need to discuss? I heard rumors that Aaron Rodgers is going to be going to the Steelers here pretty soon.
Frank Ragnow retired.
I mean, that's for us as Lions fans, that's pretty important. It doesn't seem like the best thing for the Lions.
Yeah, I think this isn't a surprise to the Lions front office. So they have definitely invested in the interior on the offensive line for a little while. I think they'll be. I mean, you can't replace Ragnow. He's a really good player. So we can't hide that. But I think that Tate Ratledge, the selection of Tate Ratledge, and even the move up for him makes more sense now. That's why it's always somewhat not irresponsible, but we don't have all the information. So sometimes we need to just wait to see how things play out. Ratledge is really athletic. Like you wouldn't think he would be, for a guy who's 6'6", and I think he was.
But isn't he there to replace Kevin Zeitler?
He's there to play wherever they need him to play on the interior of that offensive line. You would think if Ragnow would not retired, if he would not have retired, yes, he would have been in a position to, in a camp battle to replace Zeitler. But I think if you look around the NFL at all the really good running games, they all have good centers, really athletic, very good centers, right? So I think that's a bit of a theme. It's a common thing. One of the things that's important for centers is that they're athletic enough to get out into space, into the second level. It gives you an extra blocker when you're just not mashing people up front. So Ratledge is very, very athletic. He's very over aggressive. So maybe playing center helps to dial some of that back, but we shall see. I don't think, it's impactful, but I don't think it's like, takes them out of contention. They still have one of the best rosters in football.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It's just really concerning to me that this seemed to come somewhat out of the blue. Not him retiring. If he had retired 2 months ago, it wouldn't have shocked me.
Yeah,
but it is sort of disconcerting. The Lions it seems like they were caught off guard.
They were not. Trust me, they were absolutely not. They knew.
Okay.
They knew.
Okay. Well, that does make me feel a little bit better.
I mean, it does. It happens post June 1, so that helps them. All this stuff was going to be designated that way, but they've known. I think they were concerned last year that he may not come back last year. With that, it sounds to me the toe injury was much more significant than even he or the team had let on. But yeah, I'm sure they would have preferred to have him back, but it did not surprise them at all that he made this choice.
Okay. Yeah, that does make me feel a little bit better, better about that. Still waiting for two more people here joining for this draft. While we wait for them, we're going to discuss the parameters of this one. Okay. Microphone. I told you I'm just tech lording like crazy today.
Well, I'm glad you're running the show because if it was me doing it, we'd be in trouble. Where's the power button?
So the Pug is a 3-entry max, fast drafts only. So no slow drafts. Every entry only gets 3. Any person only gets 3 entries. It's $12 per entry. Only 18,600 entrants. So you don't need to beat 500,000 people in order to win some money here. First place in this one is 40,000, and then 2 out of 12 advance out of the first 14 weeks, just like normal. Then week 15, 1 out of 5. Week 16, 1 out of 5.
Okay, so put you into pools of only 5?
Yes, which means that you don't need to be perfect during the advancing weeks in order to make it through, because you're less likely to run into that random person.
You're less likely to run into Drew Bennett and his 5 touchdowns in 3 games kind of thing.
Yeah, who was the Zay Jones a couple years ago? Zay Jones scored 4 touchdowns in weeks 15 and 16 and really did a number on everyone
The
there.
Drew Bennett thing tells you how far back I've been doing this, because I won a whole bunch of money having Drew Bennett on my roster. I don't know how long that goes back, but yeah, enough to buy my wife a car.
Well, that's pretty good.
It was good. Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, I remember that. It was Brian. I had Brian Westbrook. It was the year Peyton Manning threw 50 touchdowns.
2004.
Yeah. So yeah, that was fun. I remember it because I had to make a choice in the final week. Are we on the clock? Are we going?
No, we are the 1.11, so we're good, and our picks will be very close together. It'll give us a chance to yap in between about our picks and everything else. So no, so you won a car because of Drew Bennett. You should probably send him $50 in the mail. It probably needs it.
Probably should. So I was watching. I had Brian Westbrook, who was a monster, and that last week, just Andy Reid made this real weird comment, like, yeah, he's not going to get too far away from me on the sidelines going into that final week. And they had something to play for, Philly did. And I thought, that's a weird comment to make. So I ended up not playing Brian Westbrook and playing Joey Galloway instead. And Galloway went for like 5 and 7. He had scored a touchdown. And that was the difference in me winning like what I won or winning or finishing, in the 20s and not winning that much money at all. But it was good. It was cool. Super cool.
Yeah, that's funny. That would have actually been the year we met. So
yeah,
back in the old geekly days. So yeah,
the glory days. Yeah.
Just so Scott co-hosted a call-in radio show in Detroit for fantasy, where people just call in with their start-sit questions, basically.
As crazy as that was, that thing was named a top 5 national show from Sports Illustrated. Swear to God,
believe it. I believe it. I thought that show was amazing. And now here we are, just perfectly saturated with fantasy content. So we're about to be up on the clock next. Malik Neighbors, Amon-Ra, or Brian Thomas.
What's the best way to build it?
It's up to you. You pick which one of these 3 you want.
I mean, we're not going to spend up for Goff, right? So
if we take Amon-Ra, we will, because one portends the other. So you just pick which one of these 3 you want.
No Neighbors.
Malik
I think it's
Neighbors
easiest to find our way into. Well, who do they play in week? Well, it doesn't matter. It's too early for that. Thinking about who they play in the playoff weeks.
It's not popping up on my screen here yet, but it should. We're back on the clock. Bowers, Achane, McConkey.
It's not tight. You got to go Bowers.
Yeah, especially because the Giants play the Raiders.
Okay.
17.
Cool. It's perfect.
So this will not be a unique start because of this. A lot of people are going to have Neighbors and Bowers, so we'll have to try to get unique somewhere else. But having 2 highly projected players against each other week 17 in Las Vegas will be pretty nice.
Yeah.
Personally, I think Brett Bowers should be a middle of the first round pick. It is amazing to me that he is not.
It is. Maybe there's a little bit of hesitation because of Geno Smith being there now. I think that's nuts.
But that's an improvement.
I know it is, but I think that I think it'll catch up, and people will get there with Bowers because it is a significant improvement. Who played quarterback for them last year? Aiden O'Connell,
Gardner Minshew.
Right? Yeah. So you have a semblance of I mean, Geno Smith is. I mean, I would love to have Geno Smith super late in this format. Late, be fine.
What do you think Geno's ADP is?
So we're starting one quarterback. My guess is, I don't know. He's got to be like quarterback 22 range. The total guess.
His ADP is 165, and he's quarterback 25.
Okay, I think he outperforms that spot.
So do I.
But I don't know if there's value in just finding a player to outperform his draft position. enough to warrant being on the clock in round 3 thinking Geno Smith is our plan.
The thing is, we don't need to stack our first 2 players here either, right? We're just keeping in mind as we go forward that now Geno Smith is there. And also Geno Smith has much more value to us than neighbor stack partner because we don't know who his quarterback's going to be in week 17.
We don't know.
I mean, it's going to be Jackson Dart, but we don't know who it's going to be.
You would think it would be Dart, but that was the hesitation there in round 1. And then I thought with Amon-Ra, there's a bunch of mouths to feed in that offense. And with Jacksonville, they just drafted Travis Hunter, and we don't know how that's going to impact Thomas. It shouldn't be a huge thing, but it is a thing.
I imagine it's going to be very good for Thomas because more efficient offenses just score more points over the course of the season. Week to week, it might be bad for Thomas, but over the course of a season, it'll be good for him. So let's look at the draft board here. So we got some interesting things here. Trey McBride falling to the 3rd round doesn't happen all the time anymore. And you see Rashee Rice has moved all the way up now to the late 2nd.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think he should be the first receiver off the board after Ladd McConkey. I think that 18 is where he should go. And so drafting right now is great. Just all this cheap Rashee Rice. I've gotten Rice in the early 30s in the same tournament.
He's back. It's just I don't think the legal stuff catches up to him this year, if there is any.
Yep, not this year. So, yeah, pretty soon people will start figuring out where Rashee Rice should be going. Things he only played like 4 games last year before Patrick Mahomes blew up his knee.
Yeah.
So people don't quite realize just how good he was. But also having only played 4 games means he'll be back healthy by week 1.
Yeah. Yeah, and the addition of Xavier Worthy might be a very impactful thing for Rice. Just opening up parts of the field.
Okay, we're coming up here around the clock in 2 more picks. Tyreek, JSN, Ted McMillan, Mike Evans, Breece Hall, and Lamar are all there as solid options. I mean, Tyreek would be 7 picks hit past the ADP at this point. But he goes to the auto drafter.
Did he just get picked?
Yeah, which is fine by me because I think Tyreek's going to have a horrible year. But at such a cheap cost, I would take that risk.
Yeah.
Okay. Tet, by ADP, we can wait a little bit. You want Mike Evans or Breece Hall?
No Lamar here? You want to push that around the corner? Maybe
we could go for Lamar if you want, but I think we should do one of the wide receivers because if the next guy takes both, we're in trouble.
That's fine. I mean, take Evans. Do you hate it?
Nope, that's fine. That's fine to me. So we got Mike Evans. So now as we come back around here, we're going to see what this guy does.
Didn't he take 2 receivers?
Well, he could have taken Evans and Tet and left this in a real tough spot, having to reach for Travis Hunter.
I thought he took Amon-Ra and Thomas in rounds 1 and 2.
Yeah, he can easily take 2 more receivers again. So now I think Tet here is pretty clear because it gives us 4 stacking partners. They played the Bucs in week 16.
Yeah.
So there. Now we can check through 4. Like against the team in the 12. So we're in the 11 hole here. Neighbors, Bowers, Evans, Tet versus Amon-Ra, Thomas, Kyron, and Breece. I mean, I don't see how that guy ever catches us at receiver. And he never catches at tight end either.
No, but we'll catch it. We will likely catch him at running back.
Yeah, or we're certainly going to try. Breece is one of my favorite picks on the board. I was kind of hoping this guy would take Tet here. I didn't think he'd go 2 running backs, but again, no badge. So can't be too shocked. Speaking of which, I guess I should look to see if I know anybody in here. Somebody here named Rizzo. So there's that.
Yeah.
So the quarterbacks here, Josh Allen goes in the 3rd round, Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels. What are your thoughts on quarterbacks going that early in these sorts of formats? I mean, does that make sense to you? Do you think that people can make up that quarterback production later, or do you think getting those elite quarterbacks is worth it?
I don't think it's worth it. especially because you're not setting a lineup, so you don't have to make the decisions. You know what I mean? You're
Mhm.
just flooding it with you would hope high-end players or players that have upside. I would rather have whoever we're going to take in, say, round 9, whenever it is we choose, we decide to take 8, whatever,
Mhm.
or whatever. If somebody shows up who shouldn't be there, I'd rather have that guy than pay up for Josh Allen in the third. But I get the intrigue by a guy like Josh Allen, or even Jaden Daniels. To me, is super intriguing in these formats because I think their defense is going to give up points, so he's going to have to go off for that offense, and he should. But I wouldn't have minded Lamar because of the running stuff.
Yeah. See, in these formats, the 1 week tournaments, 3 uncorrelated tournaments at the end of the year makes it really, really interesting for those high end quarterbacks. But I do agree that over the course of the season, you can make up for that later.
Yeah.
So depending on what we do at quarterback, we might end up taking 3 on this team since we don't have one of these elite guys. Because I really think these
Baker
4.
Baker would be a great player to have for us.
Yeah, Baker would be great. We got Bryce Young available. We got Geno available. The Giants are allegedly a professional football team. So
Allegedly.
So we have some options. We're back on the clock here in 2 picks. Well, we're really hoping Chuba Hubbard falls. He's just a snap for us here. He'd be a little bit after ADP, and this guy already has 2 running backs and 2 receivers, so he should take Calvin Ridley. We'll take Chuba Hubbard. Oh, he takes Travion Henderson. Great.
Wow.
So we'll take Hubbard there.
That's a really good pick.
Yeah, I really like that pick for running back. Now we have a decision to make on the next turn. We can go Godwin and Evans. We can go Juwan Jennings, Jordan Addison, Chris Olave, or James Conner for some more or James Conner for some more running back production here.
What do you think? Do you think Connor's alive in week 17 this year?
I don't know that we need Conner for week 17. I think we need Conner for weeks 1 through 9.
Then take Conner and we'll take Trey Benson later.
I don't want to take both Cardinals running backs. I'd rather swing on, since we're paying so much for Conner.
Yeah.
But we will end up taking your Marshawn Lloyds.
Yeah.
Those types. And James Conner will help until one of them hits the field, right?
Yeah.
Now,
receiver run.
This is going to get really challenging for the entire league if they let Joe Burrow get all the way back to the 1 hole, because for some reason the T. Higgins guy with Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. We just don't want to deal with Chase and Burrow, right?
Yes, and the thing is too, at such a cheap price, a lot of people will take Burrow here at the 4 or 5 turn because he so rarely makes it back. But it looks like Burrow is going to make it back to the 1 hole. Nope. This guy double stacked expensive quarterbacks. This is great. It prevents Burrow from going to the Chase team.
Wow.
Is
that guy dead now? Like, is he?
He's not dead. But he's going to require quite a bit of luck to make it out of the group. If his team does make it to the playoffs, he has a very strong team.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a lot harder for him to do that now. So we've made Wolf of Fantasy a lot harder to advance out of the 2 out of 12. And Butler now does not get the super cheap Burrow to go with Jamar Chase. So that's a great pick for us. Butler, is just cussing up a storm.
Oh, I'm sure he was he had him queued up.
Yep. So now we'll see what they decide to do. Wolf of Fantasy, his team depends a lot on the next pick. It needs to be a wide receiver. What receivers are out there? Oh, yeah, he can add Jaden Reed, Jacoby Myers. He could swing on Matthew Golden if he really wants to. So Wolf of Fantasy is going to get a decent pick here. I don't like that price on James Cook. I think James Cook at 28 is a horrible pick. I have 0% so far.
Yeah.
He goes Ricky Pearsall. So he's not picking players I would pick, but his strategy I get. I mean, I don't think I'll ever have any Hurts and Burrow, but I mean, I get it. He gets into the playoffs. He's got alternating weeks of really good quarterback play there. So
Yeah.
DeAndre Swift goes off ahead of ADP.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm seeing some players that I like coming up here.
What do you think of Ayuk?
I think Ayuk is a perfect fit for our structure because we have 3 good receivers anyway, so it takes him a while to get back. But Golden and Reed are both half a round past ADP here, so we're taking whichever one this guy doesn't. This is just a simple price-based pick right here. So we're going to get half a round value on Matthew Golden. Thank you for that. And then now we will decide what to do on the next pick. Because we got that value on Matthew Golden, it does allow us to do something interesting here if we want. We could take Emeka Egbuka a little bit early to go with Mike Evans.
Are we team rookie receiver? Is that what's happening here?
Well, that's the thing, but we have to assume that Neighbors and Evans are going to be good.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, we're going to take a receiver in this range. The other one is Downs. He doesn't correlate. Burden's a rookie. Egbuka, Cooper Kupp is dead to me. So it's Egbuka or Downs. You can pick.
Take Egbuka. I mean, okay.
I've taken Cooper Kupp in a couple places where I have like Ted and Travis Hunter. And I'm like, get me somebody who will get all 50 of their catches in the first 8 weeks of the season and then go to the glue factory.
Where's Devontae Adams going in these kind of tournaments?
He's going like mid-third.
Okay.
He's going super high. He's going, 31 here.
Okay.
With the Rams, they still got Puka there. He's going to have a great season. If he was 5 years younger, he'd be the 103.
He might go bananas in that offense.
And he's probably going to have a couple weeks where it's insane.
Yeah. So how much longer are we waiting? I mean, it doesn't matter to me. We can wait as long as you want for quarterback.
Quarterback's going to start coming up because some of our guys are going to start coming into range. Now, by ADP, we're not going to have a chance at Baker.
Yeah.
Right? Baker goes 92nd overall. The Godwin team will take him cheaply, I assume. So let's find Godwin on here. Godwin goes at 64. Now, the Godwin team did take Lamar, but it's a no badge. I do not see how Rizzo here just doesn't take a round and a half value on Baker Mayfield when he has Godwin and when it gets back to him.
Unless he's stuck on that he has Lamar and he doesn't need it.
I mean, that's true. He would have to make that mistake.
Yeah.
And if it was 4 picks of ADP value, I could see it. If it was 6 picks, a round and a half is going to be hard. Like, he'll be stick at the top of the queue.
Yeah.
Right. It's just, that's going to be hard for me to see. Now, nobody else should take Baker, right? If you don't have Godwin, Evans, or Egbuka. And, Paul says, I don't love that guy's team. He stacked at a single position and buried at running back. Obviously talking about, what's his face here?
The Lamar team?
Yeah. With RJ Harvey and Aaron Jones, which is a fine start at running back. I mean, it's more that Downs probably should have been another running back. Downs should have been Pacheco for him, I think. Because Harvey's going to take a little bit to get going, I bet, as a 4th round pick. Like, you don't expect him, or he was a 2nd round pick, but I still don't expect him to like come in right away and be that great.
Apparently Dobbins is in Denver today. That would really be a 1-year bummer for a player like Harvey.
It'd be a 4-week bummer.
Whatever it is.
But it would make his price a lot cheaper. So
Scatabo just got taken.
Yeah, that's about right. He goes about 100, pick 100. But for us, it's definitely like we would very much like for Baker to make it past Rizzo here. If he doesn't, I think we just take our running back of choice.
Okay.
Here we go. Moment of truth. And he took him. Okay.
He's probably watching our show.
Oh, I'm sure he is. We've got thousands of viewers.
I just kidding.
Jalen Warren, Jordan Mason, Tyrone Tracy.
Do we want Tracy because he's a giant? Does that matter?
It's a good enough tiebreaker for me.
Okay.
Tyrone Tracy it is. Now we're back up again in 2 more picks. We are not going to be taking quarterback here. The problem is that anybody sort of near where we draft again, I just think it's
So you're just saying we're not reaching on quarterback.
No. We're just taking we're just going to take Jordan Mason. We're going to take the correct priced player here and just keep it moving.
Okay.
Again, we would have preferred Baker there at that extreme discount. That would have made this team quite nice. I'm not going to lie. But being unable to get that, we're not going to reach. We're not going to panic. We're just going to take, there's still tons of draft left. So we're just going to take Jordan Mason to keep going into the running back room and at a good price. That might be my first share of Jordan Mason this year after having 33% of him in the DraftKings Millionaire Maker last year. I entered all those drafts in the last 2 weeks of August.
Yeah.
And I made sure to take Mason in every single draft, at least like 6 picks early if I had to.
Yeah.
Because he was undrafted for so much of the summer. It worked out great till he got hurt.
Yep.
He's like the only running back that got hurt last year.
Right. Speaking of hurt running backs, where's McCaffrey going in these things?
109,
okay.
107 now. He'll be the 104 before long. As people think, because if he's healthy, he should be the focal point of the offense again. I don't have him in any pre-draft stuff. I wasn't taking him in the second round. Yeah. I'm only going to start taking him now, so I have some, I guess. But 29 years old with 0 Achilles makes me really nervous.
Yeah, there's a lot of reason to be a little bit skeptical. Not skeptical, but just hesitant around that. Explain to me, I don't know if this is the case. Bashal Tutin just got drafted.
Yes.
Is Etienne still available?
Etienne went right before him.
Okay.
And
I guess I could just use my eyes and look.
And what's his face? Big Tanksby.
Tank Bigsby
is going to get drafted as well. Basically, whoever the running back on Jacksonville ends up being is a player you're going to want.
Yep.
And if one of them just got said, this guy's the man by the coaching staff tomorrow, they jump up 3 rounds. Right. If Etienne gets traded to Kansas City, which they should do, Tutin goes up to the 7th round. He goes up to Quinshawn Pollard range, probably.
Yeah. See, I think Bigsby would be the guy that I'd want out of that if Etienne were to get traded. Just profile size, all that stuff.
Right now, Bigsby's my favorite because he's the cheapest.
Yeah.
But Tutin has the highest ceiling out of any of them. Like, we've seen the other two. We kind of know what they are. There's a chance they unwrap Tutin, and it's like, oh, he's actually quite good.
Yeah, I just wondered if the Tutin pick was a tell, like, all right, we're gonna have Etienne for this year. He's gonna walk. We like Bigsby, we like Tutin,
Yeah.
I think Cohen uses his running backs, all of them.
Yeah, that's the thing. People are looking at Tutin and they're looking at Bucky Irving, and they're like, well, this is Bucky this year, right? That's the thought. Like, he's gonna do with Tutin what he did with Bucky last year.
Yeah, I think that maybe is flawed, but who knows?
Obviously, we're taking Jack Besh here.
Oh, I love it.
Not even a question.
It makes me want Geno Smith, dude.
Well, it also helps us get Geno Smith because now we're really competing with the Jacoby Myers team. I guess Genty has a good pass catching profile. The Genty team, if they were desperate, could take him.
Yeah.
But you can see highlighted in orange here. We've got two Panthers, so Bryce Young is in play for us. Geno was in play for us.
Yeah, I think I'm not saying you take both, but both are intriguing players.
Oh, we're looking to take both.
I would feel super comfortable about our quarterbacks if we did that.
We're looking to take 3 quarterbacks. And we're going to start here with Jordan Love.
Okay.
So we have Jordan Love to Matthew Golden. The issue is that we don't have anybody currently lined up with them in the playoff weeks.
Who do they play in like week 17?
Baltimore at home.
Okay.
Well, Jordan Love isn't there for week 17.
No.
No, but we got Love to Golden.
I like it. I like the Love and Golden combo. That could be good.
Yeah. Now, there's no chance Tucker Kraft falls all the way back to us 2 rounds later, but we'll put him in the queue just in case. So we don't forget. Bryce Young at pick 157. Geno Smith at 165. Don't know why Wandale is up there. I said Bryce Young. Okay, this is driving me crazy. But it means the draft is going quick. It is going quick, too. This is 30-second clocks. Okay. So now we're at 157 and 165 for the 2 quarterbacks. Our next picks are 155 and 158. So we will be taking Bryce Young and Geno Smith with our next 2 picks.
Okay.
Then we'll just be taking late round stabs in order to give us hopefully correlated end of season matchups. Is what we'll be looking for. We're going to get to 3 quarterbacks, 2 tight end, which will leave us 1 more running back. So we're going to have a pretty thin running back room, it looks like. That's the only downside to this team. And that's probably the downside getting sniped on Baker.
Is it really thin, though, if you have Chuba Hubbard and James Conner?
Somebody just took Bryce Young. Let me go cuss this guy out. Give me 1 second. Butler took Bryce Young as his QB2. He has no Panthers. Good pick, bro. I don't know what he's thinking. I'm going to backstack with Jalen Coker and Jatavion Sanders. Good plan, sir. Congratulations on your 7th place finish. So Geno Smith is definitely our pick here. And if somebody takes him a full round of ADP before us, I will legitimately start cussing.
That's not going to happen. We'll be fine.
Oh, Leggett is still out there too, but Leggett should never make it back. He's 20 spots lower on my ranks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy who took these guys each have 2 quarterbacks. We don't have to worry about this. The guy after us has 2 quarterbacks as well.
You think
and only 5 wide receivers?
Maybe we go something else and push Smith around the corner kind of thing?
Yeah, I'm thinking we take Dobbs here and push Smith around the corner.
Sure.
Because it looks like Love and Geno are going to be the 2 quarterbacks that we have, which will help us get better at running back, at least.
Any interest in, I know the answer here, but we're not interested in Dart at all, right?
I would rather have Dart with Lamar, something like that. I'm not against it. I think if our running back room was a little bit stronger, like I don't have a problem with taking Dart in a scenario like this, and it worked. We're able to push Geno around the corner. So I've got Geno and Love both double stacked now, so that's good. We've got Geno double stacked with the Malik Neighbors bring back in week 17 in the Dome in LA. So Paul says, let's see the Dave meltdown.
Is Stafford still around?
Yes, he is. And that is because Matt Stafford has routinely shown in the last few years that he can support great wide receiver performances without doing anything himself week to week.
Yeah.
Like he'll get 18 fantasy points and Puka will have 47. You're like, how the hell did that happen?
Target volume.
Yeah, so I actually tend to only take Stafford now if something like this happens and I get shut out somewhere else and I have either Puka or Devontae, or I have them both.
Yeah.
But my favorite thing is to take both of them and not Stafford, because whoever ends up with Stafford is just wasting a pick.
Yeah.
So take Puka, take Devontae, and just let Stafford go to whoever else wants him, because it ain't going to matter. Okay, definitely need some more help at running back. Would love a correlated tight end, but obviously we already have Bowers. Tucker Kraft is long gone.
Theo Johnson,
Jatavian Sanders.
Cade Otton?
Too expensive and probably already gone. I mean, he's right there at 183, higher ranked. You got it. Cade Otton it is. You know, because here's the thing. Stacking teams without the quarterback is great. Right? You need to stack your quarterbacks, but you don't need to quarterback all your stacks because we're playing across the entire season. So if we have Evans, Egbuka, and Otton, and Baker Mayfield finishes third in MVP voting, this team's doing great.
Yeah, we're rolling. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, if it was a DFS tournament, you wouldn't take both of them without Baker necessarily, right?
Yeah.
In a 1 week thing. But across the season, betting on the offense without having the quarterback is okay. You just don't want to have the quarterback and nothing stacked. There are some rare exceptions. Jaden Daniels, I think you can pull it off because if he pays off such an expensive price tag, he's going to do it on the ground.
Yep.
So you don't necessarily need to stack him. Although even then, the 20th round take or the 18th round take some random commander. You might as well.
Yeah, and speaking of that, it's like with Lamar, same thing. Would we be looking at Rashad Bateman late?
Rashad Bateman goes in sort of the middle rounds.
Okay.
And the thing is, because Lamar is going to do it passing and running. Right.
Yeah.
Lamar is going to win the MVP because he throws 32 touchdowns again.
Yeah.
You want somebody to go with him. So I actually think you have to stack Lamar. The other one is Justin Fields.
Yeah.
If Garrett Wilson is gone and you don't have Breece Hall, you can still take Justin Fields unstacked, uncorrelated if you've been shut out at quarterback and try to throw in a Jet later, maybe a Mason Taylor. But if you end up not taking a Jet, you're okay.
Yeah. Because
Justin Fields will only have a great season by running.
And he should. He should put up numbers this year.
He could have an okay season passing and running, but an okay season's not going to do it for you anyways.
Yeah.
If Justin Fields is a top 5 quarterback because he runs for 1,200 yards and 13 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Okay, we're coming up around again. This guy could take Otton from us. He only has one tight end. Otton should be sitting top of the queue. Well, top of the queue for him would be Eckler. Yes. All right. This guy already has 2 tight ends. If he takes Otton, he's just hurting his own team, so he wouldn't even hate it. We're actually going to take Will Shipley first because we need running back help. I think Shipley has some incredible contingent upside. He does not share a bike with our other running backs. And Twink79 here has 2 tight ends already. It's actually okay with me if one of his picks here is Otton.
Yeah.
It would hurt his team more than help. And in that case, we just come up with another
pivot.
Plan. Yep. It would pivot probably directly into Dalton Schultz. But it works. He takes Michael Wilson and Tyler Lockett. I'm sure those picks are really going to make the difference for him this year. Yeah. So we'll go ahead and take Cade Otton right here. There we go. So far, we have 3 Tampa Bay players, 3 Tampa Bay pass catchers, no Baker. That's fine. We've got both quarterbacks doubled up. We've got Geno Smith going with Jack Besh and Brock Bowers. And then we've got Jordan Love going with Golden and Romeo Doubs. would love a Bronco or a Bear for our Packers. We've got only Shipley, but still he goes up against Geno. Houston would be okay too. But obviously we are not taking Dalton Schultz. We are done at tight end.
Yeah.
We're not taking another tight end. If you take 3 tight ends when you have Brock Bowers, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
You'd be better off taking just 1 tight end.
No,
and taking a 0 on the bye week than taking 3.
Yeah. Yeah, because for us, we'd rather have another flyer running back, right? Just or whatever.
Or wide receiver or anything.
Yeah.
And I do think we might end up going another running back than another wide receiver here. It's just going to depend on who's available here, as we've got, two picks left. Because our running back room, like if something happens to Hubbard, this room could wither very quickly.
Yeah.
At wide receiver, we've got Neighbors, Evans, Tet, Golden, Ibuka, Besh, Dobbs. Man, are we going 2 more running backs? The old 2-7-7-2.
So it's funny because as you mentioned the names, I think to myself, well, we could use another receiver, but I don't think that's the case because between Neighbors and Evans, and then all the younger dudes, I think we're okay.
Right. The thing is that receiver, our bet isn't about the individual players. We're betting on the Packers, the Bucks, and Neighbors.
Yeah.
Right. That's what it is. The Packers, the Bucks, and Neighbors. Does another receiver help us if either Neighbors, the Packers, or the Bucks fail? I don't think so.
No.
Like, what receiver are we going to take here? Is Eric Iomanor
No
going to save the day if Jordan Love sucks? I don't think so. But could Jalen Wright save the day?
I was just looking at that name. That could be a bonanza.
And honestly, Woody Marks, even though I think Woody Marks is, and I don't want to be unfair to Mr. Marks, absolute dog shit.
What?
But if something happens to Joe Mixon, he's just going to play a lot.
Yeah.
So
he's next in line.
And he lines up as our going up against Geno Smith in week 16. So we're going to go with Woody Marks as one of the picks here. And yeah, I think we're just going to go the old 2-7-7-2. We're going to look at the running back situation here. Any of these names jump out to you?
Did Jalen Wright get picked?
He did.
Okay.
He did. We're definitely taking one of the people that we can see here on the board and not Devin Singletary.
I think Brashard Smith is an interesting player.
I do too. My concern is that it's a 7th round pick. Does he even make the team?
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but Pacheco
is who's more likely to be playing this year, Dylan Sampson or Brashard Smith?
Brashard Smith.
Okay.
I mean, I think Sampson's behind a bunch of guys. You know what I mean? Like right now, he's behind a bunch.
Brashard Smith, it is. Okay, so we go with the very, very woke 2-7-7-2 build. That is not what your RB bro high T structure would ever be.
RB bro.
Yeah. It's funny because we ended up with 7 running backs. And my feelings on running backs. But we had to attack with volume because we didn't attack with quality because we attacked the other positions with quality.
Yeah.
Man,
I like how correlated you've made all this stuff, though.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's what you have to do, right? Because we have to compete in individual tournaments to actually win the money at the end of the year.
And if anybody's taken anything away from this, it's how important it is the software that you have, that you're using. It really is. I mean, it's a big deal.
I do use Spike Week. Now, before I had the software, I would just memorize everything. Like I was memorizing who's on what team is pretty easy.
Yeah.
Like I know I have $3. I don't need the software for that. I know that I have Jordan Love with Romeo Dobbs and Matthew Golden. Like I know who's on what teams, right?
Yeah.
I could easily memorize all the week 17 matchups pretty quick. The 15 and 16 were a lot trickier.
Yeah.
But the week 17 ones were pretty easy. So you don't need the software necessarily to be able to correlate, but it does help. And then what it does allow me to do, it allows me to make decisions faster because I'm in like 50 slow drafts at a time. So when I click into a draft to see where I'm at, what I have, who's on the board, who correlates where, I can just make those slow picks that much faster, which increases my quality of life.
I hear you. Yes.
That's the main use for it. I could pretty easily keep doing fast drafts like this, no software, but 50 slow drafts, no software would be tedious. And since the point is to get volume.
I didn't even know how you do the fast ones to try to keep it all,
Well, okay, so I'm not even trying to remember the week 17 games, but go ahead and give me a team.
The Chargers.
The Chargers play Houston. It's a rematch of the playoff game last year. Give me another one.
Seattle.
Seattle plays in a game that is not interesting. Who? Oh, it's going to drive me crazy. Seattle plays.
Do you want me to look?
I'll find it here. I'll just find a random Seahawk here in the draft board. At Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah. So what's funny is that we actually have two Panthers. So I probably should have seen that while we were doing it here. But like a lot of them I know, like Giants, Raiders, I know, Lions, Vikings, Patriots, Jets, because that's Drake's on a plane. So that was easy. You come with demonic devices for them. But I don't worry about it as much anymore because the software gives it to me, but you can memorize. It's only 16 games.
I guess all I was saying is that it was impressive how not using the software, like the Shipley pick, how quickly you knew that was correlated in some way. For us, I forget how you worded it.
Oh, so for Shipley, I didn't take because he was correlated for us. I took it because his profile matched our team exactly right. So you could see where we picked him. We only had 4 running backs: Hubbard, Connor, Tracy, and Mason. And the Shipley pick is like, okay, are they going to give Saquon 492 carries again? Probably not. Because the thing is, if Saquon didn't hit 12 60-yard plus touchdowns, those are drives that have to keep going. That's more carries for Saquon.
Yeah.
So Shipley should probably just play more by default this year. If something happens to Saquon, my God.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so when we're looking at how to snore some upside into this running back room, Will Shipley is it. Now, if we had Jahmyr Gibbs and Breece Hall already, Shipley never even enters my mind at that pick, unless he would have correlated perfectly. Like if we had Josh Allen, we need a Bill, we need an Eagle to play against the Bills in week 17, right? So his profile fit the team. And really, when you're drafting a portfolio of teams like this, profiles, how they work together, and correlation is really the name of the game. If you're drafting just like 5 teams, go ahead and get your guys. Don't overpay for them. You cannot come back for overpaying. It's a market-based game. You can't reach 2 rounds on David Montgomery, even though you love David Montgomery, because somebody else, once you get to the playoffs, even if you're right, you're like, David Montgomery's going to get 27 touchdowns this year. Great.
Yeah, but
you got him.
Somebody's going to have him plus the player that they took.
Exactly.
Instead of reaching. Yeah.
Right. So even if we knew, let's say we knew that Jack Betch was going to catch 150 passes for 2,000 yards and 27 touchdowns this year, I would still only take him 1 round early.
Yeah.
Right. I would take him 101, even though he would be the highest scoring player.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why you just do not reach for picks. The later it is in the draft, the more you can reach, because the less the punishment is, the less opportunity cost is for what you're giving up.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, do not reach for your players. Even if you're only doing 5 of these drafts, if you're like, I'm a Jets fan, I want 5 Justin Fields teams, so you reach half a round to make sure you always get Justin Fields. Fine.
Yeah.
It's not the best thing. But if you're doing a lot of them, which I do recommend, like if you have $125 to spend, don't do 5 $25 drafts, right? Do quick math, 25 $5 drafts.
Yeah.
Instead, in which case then profiles, how the players work together. And a small part of the profiles is what we think of them. There's only a few players which I actually have take so strong it impacts whether or not I will take them.
Like Cooper Kupp?
I even have some Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
Because his profile is so good in some certain instances. I like Cooper Kupp. I have a team where I drafted Chris Godwin and Brandon Ayuk, who both may not play until week 4. That's a Cooper Kupp ass team right there.
If you can get that team into the playoffs, though.
Right. And how do I get there? I have Cooper Kupp before he just withers and dies in week 7. Have a couple usable weeks in the first little bit.
Yeah.
And then that's it. And if Cooper Kupp was 3 rounds cheaper, I would take him a lot more.
Yeah.
I just think he's too expensive. Xavier Legette, I don't have a lot of. Because he's too expensive. I think he should be 2 rounds cheaper, and I think that there's a great chance that Ted McMillan comes in and just absolutely dusts Legette. And Legette becomes like the absolute worst version of T. Higgins we've ever seen.
He could be.
And in that case, I don't want the going market rate for Xavier Legette.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's interesting because Bryce Young would have to explode. He was good last year at the back half of the season, but he still wasn't crazy productive. He would have to go absolutely wild to sustain two legit receivers, right? Like he just would. I don't know that that's in the forecast. I don't know.
One other thing I want to point out here, just for going forward in strategy and thinking about it, why taking Neighbors in the first round can be powerful. Dart and Theo Johnson go undrafted here.
So he's the only Giants pass catcher outside. Wandale got picked, I'm assuming.
And Slayton.
Okay.
And then you got Tracy Scadaboo.
Yeah.
Right. But you could easily go Neighbors and be like, last 2 picks, Dart Johnson.
Yeah.
I'll complete a stack right there. Right. You have that out in that case. And it's the thing, like who's taking Jackson Dart without Malik Neighbors?
I don't know why you would do that. Yeah. Yeah.
And who's taking Theo Johnson without Jackson Dart?
True.
It can happen. I would do it. I would do it in certain circumstances, but it'd be rare. So that makes it a bit trickier. Let me go back to the draft board here, and we're just gonna see who else goes. I pretty much never take. Who am I not on at cost here? Oh, I have very, very little Bo Nix.
Is he going too early?
He's going too early, and I don't trust his weapons.
Yeah.
And by don't trust, I don't mean in a real NFL sense. Actually, the Broncos have a really good offense.
Yeah.
I don't trust in a fantasy sense. Who do I need to go with him? Do I need Sutton? Is Sutton even still going to be on the team by the time camp kicks off? Marvin Mims is way too expensive, going at 129. Like Marvin Mims going right after Rashid Shaheed is criminal.
Yeah.
Those 2 players should not be next to each other. One of them is a proven NFL wide receiver, and the other one is a punt returner.
Yeah.
So Mims goes too high. Pat Bryant is still a really good pick because he's way too cheap, but is he any good?
We don't. Yeah.
So it's worth it. Yeah. So I just have a lot of Bo Nix. RJ Harvey goes too early, but it makes sense. He's a 2nd round pick. He's going to be the starting running back. People get hyped about that. So I see why people get excited for him. So it's just the Broncos are just a tough team for me this year to try to sort out. So it's nothing against Bo Nix or against any individual piece of the Broncos. I had so many Broncos last year.
To me, there's only one Bronco that I would enter a draft really intrigued to take, and it's Evan Ingram.
I was going to say, but he was going to be Evan Ingram.
Yeah.
And let's see. Evan Ingram goes at pick 103 here. So he goes. So it goes within 2 rounds. It goes Andrews, Kelsey, Hawkinson, Jonnu, Evan Ingram. The right behind him is Colston Loveland, followed by Tyler Warren and David Njoku.
Wow.
So at cost, I like every single pick better than Ingram.
Even the rookies?
Oh yeah, especially because they're cheaper. Like, give me Warren almost 2 full rounds later over Ingram. Right. So like, do I want Jalen Warren and Tyler Warren or Evan Ingram and Ramondre Stevenson?
What does Caleb Johnson do? You know?
What does Trayvon Henderson do?
Yeah.
So, that's the 2v2 there. So I don't have a problem with Ingram where he goes, but I'm far more likely to just take Hockenson before that or be like, I'm just going to wait for Njoku. Like, it's just where That's he fine. Goes, it's hard to be like, I'm for sure going to take him, even though I think there's nothing wrong with him.
Yeah, I don't know what his price was coming. I think he has the potential to be pretty dynamic there in that offense.
Yeah.
As the mainstay sort of, he's not going to be Brock Bowers, but he's definitely going to be one of the drivers of their passing game.
Absolutely. Here are the picks on either side of Cooper Kupp. The 3 picks before Kupp: Luther Burden, Michael Pittman Jr., Keon Coleman. The 2 right after Kupp: Jaden Higgins, Trey Harris. You could not pay me in a vacuum to take Cooper Kupp over any of them. Like Cooper Kupp or Jaden Higgins. I mean, in what world is Cooper Kupp a better pick for the playoff weeks than Jaden Higgins?
I mean, because it's week 15, 16, 17, we have no idea what's going to be happening.
But we know from profiles and from past data that veterans tail off towards the end of the year and rookies get better.
Oh yeah. And I'm not arguing. Right. I'm not making an argument against what you're saying.
Right, and that's not true for everybody, but we know from profiles that's the case. Yeah. So it's like, do I want the 32-year-old washed up slot receiver number 2 for Sam Darnold in the playoff weeks, or do I want the 2nd round pick number 2 for CJ Stroud in the playoff weeks, who's a rookie? Like, it's going to be Higgins in that case.
Yeah.
I never take Dalton.
Or Jalen Noel.
Like, and Noel's even cheaper.
He's the one to me that I think stands out to be the beneficiary of Tank Dell's injury, and just to kind of run it, just to go there and take over that job. Like now, I think Higgins may struggle a little bit because he's gonna play outside. He's gonna deal with press. He's gonna deal with some physicality and stuff. But Noel's their slot receiver. He's gonna see some targets.
But the thing is, we're not taking Higgins for weeks 1 through 6.
Yeah.
Right. We're taking Higgins to emerge later in the year. We're taking him there. Like, the rookie wide receivers who we think are also going to be good weeks 1 through 6 don't go pick 100. They go pick 38. That's where Tet and Hunter go.
Yeah.
Right. If we thought Higgins was like that, he would go up there.
Yeah.
It's amazing how this game has changed so much. So I remember T. Higgins' rookie year, which is 2020, 2021, 2020. T. Higgins' rookie year, he was going undrafted as the first pick in the 2nd round. Jamar Chase's rookie year, he was a 6th round pick. Garrett Wilson's rookie year, he was a 9th round pick. It's like the 10th overall pick in the draft. That people have gotten so much better at this game so fast that we never see that anymore. Okay, just a quick review of our team before we get out of here. So we went Jordan Love and Geno Smith as our 2 quarterbacks. No playoff correlation for Jordan Love, but I don't mind that. At Denver, at Chicago, home to Baltimore. Packers probably die in the playoffs anyways. But then for the Raiders, though, Geno Smith at the Eagles, they're going to lose by 50, but they're going to have to throw a lot. At Houston, dome game, right? And then home to the Giants.
That needs to be a high-scoring game.
What we need is for the Raiders to still be in wild card contention in Week 17.
Yeah. Yep.
2 games, we're guaranteed the 7 seed. Now we're cooking.
Yeah.
At the running back position, we go Chuba Hubbard, James Conner, Tyrone Tracy, Jordan Mason, Will Shipley, Woody Marks, and Brashard Smith. I think Chuba Hubbard and James Conner are both good running backs. James Conner, though, is going to wither to dust like Thanos snapped him at some point.
Yeah.
He's in incredible shape. It may be in a year and a half.
Yeah.
It may be week 4 of this year.
Yeah.
It's going to happen, though.
Yeah.
But he can still get us through. Chuba, if he stays healthy, he's going to put up huge numbers in that offense. Tracy, Mason, Shipley, Marks, and Brashard Smith are all different sorts of contingent bets. We're kind of with Brashard Smith might even emerge as the best running back on Kansas City by the end of the year, just in his own right.
I think he could make Pacheco almost. He could relegate Pacheco because of his passing game chops.
Yeah,
and to me, I mean, that's a bet that I want to take on.
Yeah,
but
Jordan Mason will not play ahead of Aaron Jones, but Aaron Jones is in the James Conner category. Like, it's going to happen sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
And when it does, Mason becomes a great pick. I actually traded him away in our dynasty before I realized, I thought this through. I'm not mad about it. I still would have done it. I'm just mad I didn't think it through first. Will Shipley, total contingent bet. If Saquon plays all 17 games again, Will Shipley is not going to help us very much, except for week 17, maybe if the Eagles are going to have the 1 seed locked up.
Yeah.
Woody Marks, again, is a terrible prospect, is not very good at football. He has every red flag possible. He has no contact balance. He blows over in a stiff wind. He put up numbers playing in a Mike Leach offense, goes to USC, doesn't do much there, but he's the backup on Houston. So he's behind Joe Mixon. If Joe Mixon misses any times, we got him. And he correlates against Geno Smith in week 17. And we mentioned Brashard Smith. Wide receiver, Malik Neighbors, Mike Evans, Ted McMillan. I'm confident saying all three are going to have really good seasons.
Yeah.
Matthew Golden and Romeo Doubs. That's really a bet on Jordan Love.
Yep.
Emeka Egbuka and Jack Betch, two really high upside rookies who might take a while to emerge, but we can afford that at wide receiver because we have Neighbors, Evans, and Ted.
Yeah.
And in fact, Egbuka might need something to happen to Evans to fully emerge.
Yeah, that one is going to be, I'll be brief. That one's going to be really interesting with what they do with Egbuka, because I think some people just want to pencil him in as, well, he'll start playing when Godwin goes away because they think he's a slot receiver only. And it's like, no, he can play outside.
They drafted to play outside because they're not getting rid of Jalen McMillions.
No.
Jack Betch might be horrible, but he's a really interesting profile, and he's going to have target opportunity. We took him both weeks, actually. And then Romeo Doubs is like full wide receiver diva without anything to back it up. But he correlates to our quarterback. We took him at the right price.
Catch the ball, Chief.
Yeah. So we took him. My personal opinion of Romeo Doubs is that he's not good at all, but correlates with the quarterback at the right price, so we take him. Because we're wrong a lot. And then Brock Bowers, who is amazing, I think he should be the 105. I think he's so cheap where he goes in the second round. Yeah. And we got Brock Bowers with our quarterback correlated all 3 weeks in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then K. Dotton to continue the Bucs bet. So once again, this is a team I really like, and I really think he has a chance to make it through. What do you think?
I like it a lot too. I mean, I think we got luckier with some of the way this shook out than we did 2 weeks ago with the one we did.
Yes.
But I like this one a lot. I would have, if we could have somehow snuck Baker through, then I would be thinking
a round and a half cheaper Baker would have been amazing because we wouldn't have Jordan Love then. We'd still have Geno, and the Jordan Love pick was what? Pick 130. He becomes a running back. Who was the running back picked at 130? We would take Benson, Garendo, Ray Davis, Rashad White.
I would have been screaming for Ray Davis.
Okay, then it would have been Ray Davis. So we would have basically have swapped. We would have Baker and Ray Davis instead of Jordan Love, Will Shipley, and Woody Marks.
Yeah.
That would have been that would have been pretty nice. All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't done all that already. We'll be back in a couple of weeks where we'll at least be able to talk about Aaron Rodgers either signing or not signing, I'm pretty sure. We'll see if anything else happens with more post-one cuts. And if there's time to talk about, we'll get on here. We'll do another draft. Maybe the Superflex will still be open by then, and we can do a whole different a whole different format. Scott, any final words?
Nope, we're good.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much. We'll see everybody in a couple weeks. Peace.